I've come to believe that in life, nothing truly has meaning unless you're willing to take risks. Nelson Mandela once said, "There is no passion to be found in living a life that is smaller than the one you are capable of." And I know that during your time in school while applying to college, choosing a major, or deciding what path you want to take, people have told you, make sure you have something safe to fall back on. But I never really understood that. Why fall back on something? If I fall, I want to fall forward. At least that way I'll see what I'm heading toward. Let me explain. Reggie Jackson struck out more than 2,600 times in his career, the most in baseball history. But you don't hear people talk about that. What they remember are the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison carried out over 1,000 failed experiments. You don't know most of them because the one that mattered, the 1,001st, was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failure brings you closer to success. Now, you've probably heard it before. Take chances. But I want you to understand why that's so important. At some point in your life, you will fail. You'll lose, you'll make mistakes, you'll embarrass yourself. That's inevitable. And I know this may not sound like the traditional message you'd expect at a graduation, but I'm telling you, embrace it, because it will happen. And I should know. In the acting business, failure is constant. Early in my career, I auditioned for a Broadway musical. I thought the role was perfect for me, except for one small problem. I couldn't sing. I was backstage waiting, and the guy before me came out singing like Pavarotti. The audience was captivated, the judges impressed. Then it was my turn. I walked out with my little sheet of music, just my imagination by the Temptations. The accompanist looked at the sheet, looked at me, and I could already sense what she was thinking. Still, I tried. But the moment I opened my mouth, it was clear. I wasn't ready. They cut me off quickly. "Thank you, Mr. Washington. Thank you." I knew I hadn't gotten the part. But they asked me back for the acting portion. And again, I was unprepared. See, in musical theater, everything is big and loud, so even the back row can hear you. I, on the other hand, was used to quiet, realistic acting. So when my partner shouted his lines dramatically, I just responded in a normal tone. It didn't match. Needless to say, I didn't get that role either. But here's the thing, I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I moved on to the next audition, and the next, and the next. And yes, I failed again and again, but I kept going. And in time, I caught a break. Years later, I performed in Fences on Broadway. That play won a Tony Award. And do you know where it was staged? At the very same theater where I had been rejected 30 years earlier. That's what it means to fall forward. So my message is this: if you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife once said to me, to get something you never had, you must do something you never did. Motivational speaker Les Brown described it this way: imagine you're on your deathbed, surrounded by the ghosts of your unfulfilled potential, the ghosts of your unused talents, your abandoned ideas, your dreams left behind. They stand there angry, saying, "We came to you because you could have given us life, but now we must go to the grave with you." I ask you, when your time comes, how many ghosts will be standing at your bedside? The truth is, you've invested years into your education. Others have invested in you, and the world needs you, desperately. I just returned from Africa a few days ago, and while the country is beautiful, there are places of deep poverty that need help. And it's not just Africa. The Middle East needs help. Japan needs help. Alabama needs help. Tennessee, Louisiana, Philadelphia, all need help. The world has so many needs, and we need you, the younger generation, to step up. Whether you offer your time, your skills, your compassion, or your prayers, give what you have. Remember this: you will never see a moving truck following a hearse. You can't take your possessions with you. Even the ancient Egyptians tried, and in the end, all they had was tombs that were robbed. The question is not what you own, it's what you do with what you have. Now let me share my final thought about failure. Sometimes failing is the best way to discover your true path. Your journey will never be a straight line. I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a class in cardiac morphogenesis. I couldn't even pronounce it, let alone pass it. So I switched to pre-law, then to journalism. but with no direction, my grades collapsed. At one point, I had a 1.8 GPA, and the university politely suggested I take a break. I was 20 years old at my lowest point. And then on March 27, 1975, while helping my mother in her beauty shop, an older woman in the neighborhood kept staring at me through the mirror. Finally, she asked for a piece of paper and wrote something down. She said, "Young man, I have a prophecy. You will travel the world and speak to millions of people." At the time, I thought she was crazy. I had just flunked out of school. But that summer, while working at a camp, someone suggested I try acting. Back at Fordham, I switched my major again, this time for the last time. And as the years passed, that woman's words came true. I traveled the world. I acted in films. I spoke to millions, people who didn't even see me but the characters I played. And through all of it, I kept falling forward. So graduates, remember this. Take risks. Embrace your failures. Let them push you forward. Because only when you stumble do you find the strength to rise. And only when you fall forward can you discover how far you can go.